Okay, hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Matt, and if you're new here, welcome on in, and if you're a returning viewer, it's great to see you again. So, since it is the end of or I guess the beginning of the new year, I've been seeing a lot of videos here on YouTube about everything that people have knit in 2024, so I thought I'd jump on the bandwagon and make a video for a video of my own. So, for some of you that don't know, I actually started knitting in May 2024, so I've only been knitting for about 7 months now, but I've really loved it, and yeah, I've really just kind of fallen in love with it. Before knitting, I did do some crochet. I did do a lot of painting and just kind of creating stuff with my hands. I really enjoy creating things, picking colors for paints and all that kind of stuff, but I didn't have really anything that I felt, or I got burnt out really quickly with those things. But with knitting, I've honestly been knitting almost every day for the whole 7 months. I've knit at least a little bit, and just the fact that there's so many beautiful yarns and so many different colors to pick from is something that I really enjoy, as well as having so many different beautiful patterns to choose from, and then just knitting and then seeing it come to life and have such a beautiful finished object. I've really fallen in love with knitting in this first year that I've started. So I thought I'd go into it and kind of talk about the things that I made as a beginner, and then kind of my progress through where I started from and kind of where I am now. So yeah, let's get into it. A lot of the things I've knit were actually gift knits, so I don't have them right now, but I do have some pictures of them, so I'll talk about them, and I'll post pictures in the video somewhere to show kind of the finished product and or finished object and what they look like, because a lot of them were kind of gift knits. So but yeah, I'll try to go chronologically for the things that I first made, and then up into the last thing I made in 2024. So let's just get started. So I actually haven't started Ravelry. That's one thing that I want to focus on moving forward in 2025, is really recording the projects that I've been making on Ravelry. I haven't done that in 2024, and I'm a little bit too lazy to go back and retroactively do it. So I have a list on my laptop over here, and then I have a binder of all my yarns that I have. I kind of do little sample swatches in here in case I've ever interested in getting the yarn again. I know what the color looks like and stuff like that. So hopefully between the two, I'll be able to discuss it with you. Yeah, let's start. So the first knitted object that I ever made was the Anelia hat by Alexandra Solowaniak, and it is a 2-color brioche hat that calls for a hand-dyed yarn and a boucle. So the hand-dyed yarn I used was by the Frosted Stitch, and it was, let's see if I have it in here. Yep. So it's the Frosted Stitch. I used their Deep Freeze DK, which is 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon, and it was in the colorway Last Goodbye, so kind of like a brownish tree-ish color. I was looking for something that reminded me a little bit of some trees up in Muskoka. That was the inspiration for the hat. And then on the boucle, I used boucle, Issayer Alt boucle, in the color, it was the orange one, I'm not sure what color it is, in color 65, and I held that actually double. So it calls for a little bit of a thicker boucle, but I actually held the one double. And yeah, so that was actually my first finished knitted object. I really enjoyed the pattern, especially if you're a big fan of brioche or want to learn brioche. It was, yeah, my first brioche pattern, so it helped me learn brioche quite a bit. The only thing is, with the boucle, it's kind of hard to see where you messed up with the brioche stitch, especially if you're relatively new to it. But I would definitely recommend the pattern, and I think it's a great gift knit for the winter. If you used like a nice wintry boucle, I think that would look really, really pretty. And then with a hand dyed for someone that kind of or some kind of color that reminds you of someone that you're giving it to would be really, really nice. So that was my first finished object. My second one, and my first finished garment is this one here, and this is the sweater number 6 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. So it is a kind of just a big, baggy, cozy sweater, that raglan sweater that is finished off with some balloon, what's it called? Some balloon sleeves here, and then finished off with an I-cord edge on the sleeves and an I-cord edge on the bottom. So yeah, I picked up this yarn at the Muskoka Yarn Festival, Sheep and Wool Festival, and it is the Studio Donegal tweed, I believe. Let me check my book again. Yeah, Studio Donegal Wool Spinning Company, and it is in the shade 5758, I believe. It's the gray one with the multiple colors, and it is 100 grams, you get about 200 meters, and it is, yeah, 100% wool, I believe it is. Doesn't say on the card that I saved for some reason, but yeah, it's the Studio Donegal Spinning Company's tweed. I really love tweed, as you'll see in some of my other knits, but yeah, this was my first project, and this one I made in the size, extra large. A lot of the patterns, if I don't specify that I got a different amount, I used the recommended amount of yardage, even if the yarn maybe is different than the recommended. So the yarn called for something a little bit more bulky, but this one, I guess, is Aran. But yeah, I did the extra large, so I got about 600 grams of it. So six skeins of it, and I'm really happy how it turned out. It gives me kind of the old like wool sweater type vibes, so I just throw this on for a hack around sweater, and I think it's turned out really, really nicely. It was my first raglan, so a lot of my raglan increases are kind of holy and stuff, but you live and you learn, and my raglans going forward have been a lot better. So yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out, and it was knit on big needles, 7mm. Yeah, so it goes by pretty quick. I would definitely knit this pattern again, and maybe use like a blown chain yarn, like maybe a Puno or a Poppy by Sandisgarn. I think would look really, really nice. But yeah, this is my second thing that I knit in 2024. Okay, now moving on. The next thing I knit, I don't have here because it was a gift knit for a friend, and it was the Stockholm Slipover V-neck by Petite Knit. I made it for a friend in the size small, I believe. Yes, in the size small, so the second smallest size. And I made it using Sandisgarn Sunday. Yeah, no, I don't have it, but I made it in Sandisgarn Sunday, held with tin silk mohair in Sandisgarn tin silk mohair as well. So the recommended yarn, I used 2 balls, I believe, of each, and then yeah, 2 balls of each. And I talked about the colorway in one of my old podcasts. I'll try to go back and get the color, maybe, and post it. But yeah, my first vest and my first Stockholm Slipover V-neck. I've made a couple more since then, and I really, really love the pattern. It's just a nice, easy pattern to get into making vests and V-necks, I guess. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm really happy how it turned out. I'll post a picture somewhere here, maybe with my friend wearing it, or maybe just the finished object. But I really like how the darkness of the yarn in the brown with the lightness of the mohair turned out. But yeah, not too many. I don't have any criticisms for the pattern. The pattern's great. Maybe one of my favorite patterns that I've ever knit, because I've been making a couple more and have a few more planned. So yeah, I really enjoyed the pattern and really loved the finished object. But yeah, it's just worked on 4.5 millimeter needles. And you just cast on for the back and then cast on the front shoulder and the two front shoulders, meet in the bottom, and then work in the round. And then do the ribbing finishes, which I think are really nice. So yeah, that was my next thing that I made in 2024. Yeah, I don't have really too much else to say about that one. Let's move on to the next one. So the next one, another gift knit that I don't have, but I'll post a picture, is I made 2 weekend hats by Petite Knit for housewarming gifts for some of my friends. I made one in the size small. One in the size small, one in the size medium. I used Sandisgarn Double Sunday in the color, I don't have it here either, but I'll try to go back and find it and post it. But I made a brown one and a pink one, so Double Sunday called for. And the hat is just a 1x1 ribbed hat with some double knitting to create a triple folded brim. And then you do some decreases up at the top that are supposed to be a little bit decorative. I really enjoyed the pattern. It goes by pretty quick. You could definitely finish it in a weekend. That's why it's called the weekend hat. But I'm not too sure I'm the biggest fan of the Double Sunday by Sandisgarn. I felt the yarn wasn't... like the strands of the yarn weren't twisted enough, I guess. I don't know. They split apart quite a bit. So I think if I were to ever make anything with Double Sunday again, I would opt to just holding 2 Sundays together, I think would be the better fit. Because I really do love the Sunday, but I wasn't the biggest fan of the Double Sunday. But yeah, a nice hat for a gift again, and then a nice quick and easy pattern, I would say. And really easy to follow. And I used 2 balls for each color for each hat. So yeah. And I just used a single Double Sunday. I didn't hold it with any mohair or anything. And that was the next thing that I knit in 2024. And then the next one that I made was the vest number 1 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. One of my favorite... Or actually, I just realized that I've become a huge fan of vests this year since making them. So yeah, all the vests that I've made are kind of my favorite patterns. So I made the size extra large, and it calls for double soft merino for knitting for Olive, which is kind of like an Aran weight, very similar to their heavy heavy merino. But I actually didn't do that, and I held 2 strands of knitting for Olive merino together with a strand of Spinny by Isayer, which is like a lace weight wool yarn. Spinny. So, and it created like a nice, very marled yellow looking vest. Oh, I have it. Sorry, I don't know why I'm not showing it. I have it here. Yeah, so my first vest for myself, and it's just a nice yellow marled vest. So it's just a regular worked vest. I believe you cast on stitches back and forth to create a trapezoid on the back. Then you work down the back while increasing for the armholes, and then work down the front like a normal vest on each shoulder, connect it underneath, and then work down, increase for the armholes, and then connect the body and work through the body. And then work some ribbing on the bottom, finished off with Italian bind off, tubular bind off. You work the ribbing on the arms, and then you work a double folded neckband for the neck. But yeah, I really love the yellow marling on this. Like, I used knitting for Olive, 1 strand in the Keats, and then 1 strand in the Dusty Banana. And then the spinny was color number 365 or 353, the yellow one. I'm not sure, I can't really read. It's handwritten, the color number, but yeah, it's really, really nice, really, really warm, and really drapey, but also chunky, and very soft, even though there's no mohair in it. So yeah, I'm really happy with how this turned out, and this was in the extra large. I would definitely knit this again. I actually had a plan on knitting a bluish version one, like have a darker blue, a lighter blue, and then a white, and have a very similar one with blue marled. But I did a color analysis in Korea, and blue's not my color, so maybe do a green. I'm not sure. I really love green. But yeah, my first vest. I did have some problems with this because for some reason I measured wrong or something. When I first finished it, I didn't try it on and just went back off the measurements that it says in the pattern, and then completely finished it and tried it on, and it was way too short. So I went back and actually cut out all the ribbing and added more length, and then did the whole ribbing again in about a day because I wanted to wear it to my cousin's wedding. So yeah, I kind of rushed to finish it after I had already finished it once. So but yeah, really happy how it turned out, and my another finished object this year. Okay, and then my next one that I made here was the halibut sweater. So this was actually my first colorwork sweater that I've ever knit, and this is the halibut sweater by Boyland Knits, and I used a very nice yarn that I really, really love, but it's very difficult to find, and it's the Saunders Yarn Co. DK. Yeah, the Saunders Yarn Co. Sunday Morning DK, so it's 75% BFL and 25% Masham. And I used it in the color Hot Cocoa, which is the brown, and Personal Space in the blue. And I just held one strand together, or only used one strand of each for the color, and I knit the size 4 for this. Now, I really love the pattern and the look of it, but one thing I will say, I don't know if it's maybe now that I know more about working or more about knitting, that my row gauge maybe would be off. I did do a swatch, and it was I actually didn't swatch the row gauge. I swatched the this way, but not this way. So yeah, maybe that might be the problem, but I think the fish are just way too small for this sweater. Like when I see other people make it, their fish goes down to like almost halfway down their body. I don't know if it's because I made a bigger size or if the row gauge is off, but yeah, if I were to make it again, I might use a chunkier yarn just so I can get a bigger fish, because I really do love the fish, but I think there's just too much empty space on this one based on other people's versions that I really, really love. So, but yeah, this is my first colorwork sweater, and I opted to do the mock neck. That's something I would also change in the next time I make it. I would I think do the let's see, what's it called? Not turtleneck. No, I would do the mock turtleneck. This one's the crew neck, and the hole's pretty big. I think I would do the mock turtleneck just to cinch it in a bit more. But yeah, it gives you 3 versions that you can do, and it's just a 1x1 rib on the neck you start with, and then you work short rows on the back, and then you work the color work yoke, split for the sleeves, work the pattern, and then finish off with a 1x1 rib on both the sleeve and the bottom. But yeah, I would actually recommend this as a beginner pattern if you're looking to do color work, because it does teach you short rows as well as color work, stranded color work. So I think it's a really nice pattern. But yeah, I really, really love the yarn. The Saunders Yarn Co. Yarn I really love, but it's very hard to find. I got this when it was on sale at the knitting loft because they only had one batch of it. So yeah, really happy with this, how it turned out. But like I said, yeah, the only gripe is the smallness of the fish. So I think maybe I would need to use a different yarn next time. But yeah, the yarn's very drapey, very warm, very woolly, but also very soft. And the pattern is just a beautiful halibut sweater. If you're into knitting, you know the halibut sweater and just how iconic it is. So yeah, this was my first colorwork sweater actually. So. And did I say what size I made? I think so, but yeah, I made the size 4. So, and then I used, or it calls for 6 skeins, no, 5 skeins, and of the main color and 2 skeins of the contrast color. But I only used about 1 skein of the contrast color and 4 skeins of the main color. So I actually have quite a bit. I have almost 1 skein of each left over. So yeah, maybe make some hats or something with it because the wool is very beautiful and nice. So yeah, I would hate to waste it. So, but yeah, that was my first colorwork sweater of 2024. And then the next thing was the Ina hat by Ellen Dimchevska, and this is I guess a cabled hat I made for my Korean tutor. I've been learning Korean for quite a few years now, so I thought it would be a nice gift to give my Korean tutor. Where do I have it here? Yeah, so I just made, it's from the 52 Weeks of Accessories book. I bought and I really loved the pattern, and so I made it in the, which size? Head circumference. I made it in the second largest size, so the 46 centimeters, I believe. And it called for like a blown chain yarn, but I didn't really like the blown chain look with the hat, so I actually went with something different, and I got, yes, so I used Illimani Royale 1, which is 100% Royal Alpaca, and I held that together with a kind of grayish, I don't have it in here, but the grayish Sandisgarn alpaca lace yarn. I held it together, just add a little bit of contrast and hold the cables, I guess, a little bit tighter. But yeah, the hat reminded me of bouquets of tulips, and then you work a 3x2 rib, I believe, to start, and then you work the cabled pattern that has tulips and then some weaving in and out cabled on it. I'll post a picture. I think it turned out really, really nice with the color or the yarn combo that I used, and then just in a nice gray to kind of, I wanted to, the inspiration was like stone flower statue or something like that. So yeah, one thing I did realize after using this yarn with cables is that because it's so soft, sometimes the yarn pilled while I was making the cables, and I'm not too sure if the stitch definition is great enough for cables, but that's something I learned from the hat. So moving forward, when I do cables, I'll do something with a little bit more stitch definition in the yarn. So, but yeah, a very nice, beautiful hat, a perfect gift knit, but it does take quite a while because it is a cabled hat. So it does take a little bit longer than like the weekend hat that I made or something of that nature. But yeah, really happy with how it turned out. And another gift knit, so I don't have it here with me. But the next one was I made 2 Vlode headbands by Apella Knits, which is also another gift or another pattern from the 2 weeks of accessories, or 52 weeks of accessories. And I made it using the alpaca yarn from Sandisgarn again. But this is their DK one, I believe. Yeah, I'll post a picture. This was a gift for my friend as well, for the person that I made the first Stockholm slipover v-neck and her sister. I made a green one and a red one, and what it is basically a brioche patterned headband, and then you twist it on itself and sew it down together to get a twist on the front of the headband. It's very, very easy once you get the hang of the pattern and the brioche. I think I knit one of them in a day, and then the first one, it took me a couple days to get the hang of it, but the second one I knit in a day or so. And I believe I did the second size. Yeah, but again, a nice gift knit. If you want to make something quick but also thoughtful for someone, I would definitely recommend it. But yeah, I really enjoyed that one. And then the next one is actually a pattern, I guess, or a colorwork pattern by me, but it's based off of an existing pattern, and it's based off the Alma mitts by Maya Ackerstrom. And I actually designed some jellyfish mitts here, inspired by Ha Yujin of Le Seraphim, my favorite group. If you've been watching, you know. And yeah, she's just a big fan of jellyfish, and I had the Sanders Yarn Co. Yarn left over, and so I thought I'd make it, but it's too small. It calls for a worsted, and the Saunders Yarn Co. is DK, so it's too small, but oh well, what can you do? But yeah, I kind of followed the Alma mitt pattern. Too small. The Alma mitt pattern, and then just created my own colorwork pattern for it. But I'm really happy how it turned out regardless of that. But yeah, it's just a mitt where you start with a 2x2 colorwork cuff, and then you do colorwork design on the palm and the thumb, and then you do your colorwork on the front. But yeah, I made this one, and this is my own jellyfish colorwork pattern, but too small, so unfortunate about that. But yeah, just something quick again that I made using some scrap yarn from my halibut sweater. And then my next one is probably one of my next favorite knits from this year, and this is my Dopo sweater by Hong Seung-hee. So just a really beautiful sweater. I'm really happy with how the yarn and everything of this turned out. I love it. I just, yeah, really love it. Just a nice drape and everything, and I think almost honestly the perfect raglan. So this is just a raglan sweater with a double folded neckband, 1x1 rib double folded neckband, 1x1 rib cuff on both the sleeves and the bottom, and then yeah. But what's different about this is that the raglan stitches don't increase at the constant rate, so they actually increase with what's supposed to be the shape of your body, so it gives it a little bit of a nicer, more natural fit, which I really, really loved and enjoyed. So when you're doing the pattern, you just have to make sure to pay attention with what row you're on. But yeah, I really, really loved how it turned out. I went with some yellow to try to go out of my comfort zone a little bit with this one, and yeah, I'm very happy with how it turned out. So I'll talk about the yarn because it is quite a few bits of yarn held together. So there's two versions. You can use a DK held with a suri, or two fingerings held with a suri. So I opted to go with two fingerings held with a suri, just to add a little bit of different colors to it. So the first fingering I used was La Bien-Aimée in their merino singles, and I used the color Carenbop, and I held that together with Knitting for Olive merino in the color Elderflower, one of my all-time favorite colors by Knitting for Olive yarn. And then I also held that with a hand-dyed suri lace called in the color Limoncello in Dandelion Lace by Lillian Pine, which is a hand-dyed yarn company from Alberta, I believe. So yeah, I knit the size 3. Let me double check. just to make sure, I believe. No, 5, sorry. I knit the size 5. And I just ran out of yarn while I was binding off the bottom rib, so perfect amount of yarn. I used 3 skeins of the Surrey and 4 skein or 3 skeins of everything actually. So 3 skeins of 4 skeins of the merino from Knitting for Olives, because I bought 3, but I had to buy an extra one while I was here in Korea. And then 3 skeins of the La Bien-Aimée, and then 3 skeins of the Surrey, and I ran out of the Surrey when I was binding off, so yeah. But I think moving forward, if I were to buy 4 skeins of everything, and then I would move up and make the size 6. I do really love this, but I really like my sweaters to be a little bit baggier, so I would opt to go with one more bigger size in the size 6, I think. Yeah, just looking at this, I don't know if you guys have any recommendations on how to store your knits, so they don't really get the fold lines like that, but yeah, if you have any recommendations or anything, let me know. But yeah, the finished garment is so soft and so warm. Even though it lets in a little bit of wind, it keeps you so warm because of all the wool and the Surrey makeup. But yeah, really drapey, really soft, and I really love how it turned out. I actually have yarn to make 2 more of these, so I think it's just the perfect raglan pattern. So yeah, and this is my Dopo sweater. The next thing is the next one is probably my favorite vest that I've made this year, and this is my altered Stockholm slipover vest, which is inspired by Kazuha from the Seraphim, one of her vests that she wore in a photo shoot for their anniversary. I really loved the pattern of it, so I tried to recreate the pattern but make it my own. And this is it here, and I made it in the size 2XL. Yeah, made in the size 2XL using Sandisgarn Sunday for all the merino, or for all the main colors, and then using Vilcolana Tilia for the green mohair, and then Tin Silk mohair for the cream and brown mohair. So I believe all the colors are petite knit colorways from the Sandisgarn Sunday. The green, I believe, is forest green or pine green, and then the cream is almond, and then the brown is milk chocolate. I just followed the petite knit pattern, but I made my own math for the stripes. So I believe the stripes are 7, 3, and 4, so they have different lengths of each color. But I'm really happy with how it turned out. The only thing is, I think I picked up one too many stitches on one of the sides of the v-neck, so it's kind of wonky, but I think only I'll really notice that. But yeah, just again another Stockholm slipover v-neck, and then this one was just with my own color pattern on it. So yeah, really like how that one turns out. It's really soft. I really love the Sandisgarn Sunday. It's very soft and a drapey merino yarn. Okay, and then my next thing that I made was another weekend hat by Petite Knit, and it was actually another gift knit for one of my cousins, and I used Felici Punto DK Baby Alpaca, which is 70% alpaca and 20% silk and 10% cashmere in the color Squirrel. And this is a yarn I got here in Korea. It was, I think, hand dyed, and I made just the another weekend hat. But I wasn't sure if I had enough yarn to make a whole the triple folded brim, so I just made a double folded brim for that one. But yeah, I'll post a picture somewhere here. But yeah, just a weekend hat, and it turned out very similar to the others. I think with one skein of DK yarn, you can make a nice weekend hat, which would be yeah, a nice gift or whatever. So the next thing I made was the holiday slipover, another vest. So this is it here, my holiday slipover. And it was using, I made the size 2XL. Oh, for the weekend hat, I made the size medium again. And then, yeah, for this one, I made the size 2XL. And I believe I used 9 balls of Sandisgarn poppy for this, held together with a kind of lace mohair, cash lace mohair from some knit that I bought here in Korea in kind of this burgundy color. But I really like the poppy because it reminds me kind of watercolor painting, which is something I really enjoy to do. And yeah, it's just another vest that calls for a blown chain yarn, so the poppy, and you hold 2 strands together with a lace weight. And it has a 1x1 ribbed neckline, a 1x1 ribbed sleeve, arm sleeve, and then a split hem on the bottom within 1x1, where the back hem is actually longer than the front hem, so you don't really need to do short rows. So as you can see here, it's a couple inches longer on the back. It's just a really, really warm vest, more of a winter vest than anything. But yeah, I guess, yeah, I really love, as you can see, how the yarn poppy kind of looks like colorwork splashes on paper or canvas there. Just really beautiful. I would definitely make this again. Maybe not for myself, but as a gift. I would definitely make as a gift for Christmas. I don't think I would wear this too much to warrant having more than one. But yeah, I really liked it. And I really liked the poppy. I would maybe make like the sweater number 6 that I first showed in the poppy. I think would look really, really beautiful. But yeah, just a blown chain yarn. And I used the colorway Fall Leaves, I think it's called, for the Sandisgarn poppy. It's the Fall Leaves colorway. The next thing I made was the radiation hat, which was a gift for my dad. I don't have it here, so I'll post a picture. And it is also from the 52 weeks of accessories book. I'm not sure. I don't know where a lot of my yarn went. I thought I put almost all my yarn in this binder, but I'm missing quite a bit, so. Yeah. I think I used Rowan Kid Silk Mohair, held together with Sandisgarn Sunday, and then, yeah. Yeah, so I used one Rowan Kid Silk Mohair and one Sandisgarn Sunday strand held together for one of the colors, and then the same for the other color. And what this hat is just a alternating knits and pearls hat. Yeah, alternating knits and pearls with different colors each row. And then you do a crochet chain. So you actually have to crochet chain up the sides between the pearls to create the kind of the chain that makes it look like almost 3D kind of. But yeah, I enjoyed making the pattern. My dad says it's really warm. He wears it when he walks the dogs, and he says it keeps his head really warm. I don't know if I would make it again because the crochet chain was really taxing because you have to hold the hat a certain way in order to make the chains correctly, and it just yeah, it took a lot out of me to do the crochet chain, so I'm not sure if I'll make it again. But the one that I made, my dad asked that he liked that pattern, so yeah, I made it for him once. I don't know if I'll make it again for someone else, but yeah, again from that book. And yeah, another gift hat. I think hats are just a really nice gift knit to give to someone. So okay, and then the next thing is my Christmas sweater. and this is the Northern Augustine's number 4 by Augustine's DK. And I actually, if you haven't seen my other podcast, I actually changed the pattern. The colorwork pattern is supposed to be all red, but I changed the red to a green and then duplicate stitched over some brighter yarns for Christmas lights to kind of represent Christmas, or a Christmas tree skirt with some lights or something like that. I think it turned out pretty nice. The yarn I used was Filcolana Peruvian Highland wool in all the colors, and then I used Filcolana Tilia in all the colors in the mohair as well. So the pattern calls for a worsted held with a lace weight, and then you actually start on with Judy's Magic Cast On to do a 1x1 ribbed neckband, and then you sew it onto, sew it onto itself, and then start directly from the neckband into the colorwork yoke. And there's no short rows in this, but because it's such a big baggy pattern that you don't really need it. And then you work down the sleeves, and you do a folded over cuff on the sleeve as well, and then a folded over 1x1 rib cuff on the bottom as well. So it feels like a lot of knitting, but it goes by pretty quick because it's on big needles, 5mm I believe. No, 6mm. So it goes by very quick. It's on 6mm needles, and you're using basically an Aran equivalent yarn. So yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. Since knitting, I've kind of made a new tradition to make my Christmas sweater every year, and this was my first year, so this was my first Christmas sweater. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'll post some pictures because I really like how the pictures turned out in the snow here in Korea. It was a big snowfall, one of the biggest in the last 100 years in one day, so I'll post some pictures. I really like it. But yeah, I really enjoy the colorwork pattern. Like, I think the bows are very elegant. I've used them again actually for another object I'll show later, but yeah, a really nice pattern, and I would definitely recommend to anyone that, even not for a Christmas sweater, just for a nice big cozy colorwork sweater, I would recommend for sure. And the next one I made was another gift knit. It was an essential beanie by Andrea Gahn, and it's a 2x2 ribbed beanie, I believe, where she gives you the option to make it with almost any weight of yarn. So I used a fingering-ish tweed that I bought here in Korea from Som Knit, and I held it 2 strands together to make a DK equivalent, and I made a hat for my cousin for Christmas, and I made it a little bit shorter to try to make it a little bit more stylish to wear or kind of all the time. So yeah, let me see. I think I did the second largest size, because I would almost only do the largest size if it was for myself because I have a big head, but I normally do one below one that I would do for someone else. But yeah, I'll have a picture. I'll post a picture here. And yeah, just another hat gift knit. A lot of hat gift knits this year. And then another gift knit was the Bunny Bonnet by Megan Faith Makes. And I gave it away, so I'll post another picture here. But I used some scrap yarn from my Christmas sweater. So I used Filcolana Peruvian Highland wool in the kind of foresty green color for the main bonnet. And then I duplicate stitched over the ribbons from my Christmas sweater onto it, and I thought it looked pretty cute. It was in one of my last podcast videos, if you want to go see me wearing it, but I'll post a picture here. And yeah, the bonnet, really cool design. I've never made a bonnet before, but you just start with a rectangle, and you just knit back and forth on the rectangle, and then you do short rows to shape the top of the bonnet. So you don't actually have to sew anything or take anything away from it. It's just all in one piece. And then you pick up all the way around for the ribbing on the front, and then you pick up on the bottom and do garter stitch for the ties. You cast on some stitches, knit some, and then cast on some more, and do garter stitch for the ties and the bottom part of the bonnet. So pretty easy. I think you could, if you wanted to do no color work, you could do it in maybe almost a day even. You could finish one, or maybe 2 days, if depending on the size. I believe it's one size fits all. So, yeah, one size fits all. And it uses pretty big chunky yarn, and you're using 4.5 millimeter needles, so it goes by pretty quick. And then the next thing I made, probably my most proud of knit of the year, is my first cabled sweater, and this is the Heart Chain sweater by From Mayo, or Mayo Ring on Instagram, who is a Korean knitwear designer. And I really love how it turned out. This is, yeah, I just love the cabling pattern, like the hearts on the side and everything. I just really love it. I'll definitely be making more cabled knits in the future. Yeah, I'm just a big fan of it. So let me see. I made the largest size, but as I talked about in one of my older podcasts, they didn't have, well, the yarn it calls for is a worsted held with a lace, but when I went to get the color I wanted, it was a little bit too dark and you couldn't see the cables, so I went with a brighter red because I wanted something red for the hearts, but not bright red. I've seen a lot of versions with really bright red, but I wanted something a little bit more dark red. But they didn't have my size in the Gilead, Daruma Natura Gilead, so I went in to get, or I opted to get Daruma Natura Ulysses, which is their sport weight yarn, and I held that double with soft silk, or Bichambush's Le Petit Mohair, in the color in red as well. So I held those two together, or 3 strands together, to create this, because the largest size, based on the measurements that I like, was just a little bit too small. So I thought holding it 2 sports together would make it a little bit bigger to make it my perfect fit, and it came out very wide and baggy, which is what I like, and boxy for this, which is something that I was looking for. But yeah, the pattern is just basically you just follow charts the whole time. So you do a chart for the back for your size, a chart for the front for your size, and then chart for the sleeves for your size, and then you finish with a 2x1 or 2x2 cuff, and then you do a 2x2 folded over neckband, and then a 2x2 cuff on the bottom as well. But yeah, I really enjoy it. It actually is my first cabled sweater, so I learned quite a bit in terms of cables and all that kind of stuff. And I just had the perfect amount of yarn. I just ran out when I was finishing it, so again, perfect. But yeah, this is probably my most proud of knit this year, because I think it's very, I guess not complicated, but it took a lot of work for the cabling, but I'm really happy with how it turned out, and really love this one. So yeah, that's the Heart Chain sweater by From Mayo. And then the next thing I made was another hat. This is for myself. I realized when it snowed in Korea, I had made so many hats for other people, but I didn't have a hat for myself. So I made the Oslo hat by Petite Knit. And this is just using some scrap yarn from my Kazuha vest. I used the milk chocolate held together with the tin silk mohair that I used for that to make this one. I didn't think I was going to have enough yarn to make the largest size, so I made the second largest size, and it's just a little too tight. It gives me a lot of pressure on my forehead, so I think if I were to ever make it again, I would go for the largest size. But yeah, what you do basically is you work stockinette stitch for a while, and then you fold it over and knit the stockinette stitch together to create the double fold here. And then you work some more stockinette, and then actually turn the whole work together. So when you flip it inside out like this, you have stockinette for the rest of the hat, and then you do some decorative decreases on the top. I really love the look of it. Like, it looks store-bought, I really just, yeah, love the color and everything like that, but again, it's just a little bit too small, unfortunately. So maybe I'll make it again in a different color and make it one size bigger, but we will see. Another hat. I would definitely recommend if you're looking for hats. I think that one might be my favorite hat pattern that I've made so far. So, and then the next one was another Stockholm slipover. I made using some yarn I bought here in Korea. I made the size small again, and this is a gift for the sister of the person that I made the first one for. So I made it in this green color, and yeah, just really nice. I got this here in Korea. It's 90% wool, 10% cashmere, so very soft. But the row gauge was a little bit thicker than the Sandusgarn Sunday, so I had to adjust the pattern a little bit for the V-neck, because I made the V-neck to the pattern originally and it just looked way too thick. But yeah, I'm really happy with how the color looks. I used some wool here that I got in Korea, and then some mohair that I also got here in Korea, which was wool and nylon. So it adds a little bit of moss kind of color look to it. So I hope she will like that one as well. Not too much to talk about because I've already talked about two other Stockholm slipovers. So, and then currently one of my favorite knits is this one here, and this is my Berlin scarf. So Sakura, who is one of my favorite members of Le Seraphim, made a scarf, and I was thinking about buying a scarf here in Korea because the Acme scarf is very popular right now. But once I saw she made one, I thought, why, I might as well make one as well. So this is it here, and this is the Berlin scarf. I really, really love this. I've never really been a scarf wearer before now, but I almost wear this all the time when I go out. I think it's just very versatile, and it's just, yeah, the Berlin scarf by Suzanne Mueller. And I made it using the recommended yarn, which is the brushed alpaca, and it's in kind of the bluish green colorway. And I used 6 balls for this. So, and then you get about a 6-foot long scarf, and it's just a stock knit tube that you knit from a provisional cast on, and then you knit the tube together at the end to make the fringes, and then you pick up the provisional cast on and knit the tube together and make the fringes again. But very soft, very warm, and very versatile. Yeah, probably my favorite knit currently. I use this one all the time. Okay, and then I have 2 things left. So the second to last one is the Shantel mitts by, who is it by? Shantel mitts by, alright, let me check. Morka knits. The Shantel mitts by Morka knits. I made the largest size in Cashmere Classic by Cardiff in the kind of heathered black color. So these ones here, and I opted. The pattern comes with a fingerless version or a mitt version. I opted to go for the fingerless because I want to be able to use my phone and my camera while I wear them. So this one here, I went for the biggest size, and it is just a slip stitch pattern, worked all the way up, and then finished with a Italian tubular bind off for the cuff up here and for the thumbs. But yeah, really beautiful pattern. Each one of these, one took just under 1 ball of Cardiff cashmere. So, and I made the biggest size, but I did opt to go shorter on the cuff. The cuff calls for 12 centimeters, but I only went with 7 centimeters. So, but it's just so soft. This is the first time I would knit with full cashmere, and it's just very, very soft, very, very sleek and kind of store-bought. I really, really love how they turned out. But yeah, these are the Shantel mittens in the fingerless version. And then my last knit of the year is my Cardigan number 9 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. I'm really happy with how this one turned out. I used Isir Aran Tweed in the color black, held together with Ito Sensei in the color Coke for the mohair. And I had the Isir Tweed just sitting for so long. It was actually the first yarn I ever bought when I got into knitting in May. So, and I just kind of was uninspired with what to make with it. And then I saw My Ivory Room on Instagram post her cardigan number 9, and I really loved the look of it. I'm a big fan of cardigans and all that kind of stuff, so I thought it would be the perfect pattern for it. And I think the color, like the Coke with the black, comes off kind of purplish brown, and I really love that. I think the fit is very nice. I'll post a picture wearing it somewhere here. And yeah, it's just a beautiful shadow shoulder construction cardigan where you cast on the saddle shoulders and then cast on the back, do some short row shaping on the back, work down the back flat. Well, you work everything flat because it's a cardigan, but you work it flat and then increase for the armholes, and then connect underneath and just work flat the whole body, and then pick up stitches for the sleeves, work the sleeves, do a 1x1 rib cuff finished with a Italian tubular bind off with some double knitting on the end, and then you do a 1x1 rib neck band as well as a 1x1 rib button band. So I haven't yet bought any buttons for the button band, but a lot of the time I don't even do up cardigans, so I don't really think you need them, but we'll see. I might get like those big wood buttons. I think would look really nice on this. But yeah, just really drapey, really nice, really beautiful. And I think I used eight skeins for this one because I had 11 in stash, and I have 3 left over, so yeah, 8 or so. But this one was really quick. Like I finished this in almost maybe 2 weeks. It kind of just flew off the needles, which was kind of crazy to me because it is knit flat. So yeah, kind of crazy. And I'm a hater of purling, so but yeah, I really love this one. But yeah. And that's my that's everything I knit in my first year and I guess my first 7 months of being a knitter. So yeah, thanks to everyone that's been watching. I think we've passed over 150 subscribers, which is kind of insane actually. So thank you so much for everyone that's been with me through this journey and all that kind of stuff. It's hard to state how much I've really enjoyed the journey and how much I've really loved getting into knitting. It's been quite impactful on my mental health. In my free time, like I was always looking for something to do, and like I said, I would get burnt out doing painting and all that kind of stuff because I just can't paint for 8 hours at a time. But yeah, knitting, I can knit all day, every day, if I would be allowed to. There's just so many beautiful patterns, so many beautiful yarns, and it's just really helped me out a lot this year. So yeah, thank you to everyone if you've been watching or if you're new, welcome, and I hope to bring you some new great content in 2025. But yeah, thank you so much again to everyone, and thanks for coming along in this journey. I'll see you later. Bye.